Welcome into the Dynasty Deal Show. I'm Ty Declare 44. I am joined by Shane at Shane Says FF and Scott at Charles Chill FFB. We are joined live from the good people of DDFFB, and this is your Dynasty Deal Show, live Friday, 9 p.m. Eastern. These shows drop a little early. If you want to get your trades in the chat, join that Trades and Chill tier if you want live access to this show, other shows, emojis, and a lot more. Gentlemen, we got a lot of trades to hit this week. It's week 12. The people trade deadlines, not around here. We got a lot of trades to talk about. I got one rule. You hear this noise? That means we got to wrap it up and move on to the next one. But look, a little, we got a fast theme. It's tune up. It's time to tune up our Dynasty rosters. I'm a big fan of F1. I love a good tune up. So we're going to talk some trades. We're going to get these things looking good for playoffs or geared up for 2026 as we move on here. So let's start with a Hoff. A Hoff. You got a 12 team, start 10. You got to start 3 wide receivers. It's a super flex PPR 0.5 tight end premium. The team's 7-4. He's a 1 game back of a bye. He moved Herbert, Monty, Shakir, and a 27 third for Achane and Higgins. I'm assuming T to round out my team as I push for a bye. Shane, you have been Achane fan numero uno. I want to give you your flowers there, but Herbert, Monty, a lot of guys in this deal that we like. Monty, Shakir, a third. How do you feel? Achane and Higgins, Herbert, Monty, Shakir, and a third.
So I threw out the finger because I like to steal a lot and I'm jealous. I guess you could say, well, I mean, Herbert, that's a big give, right? That is a pretty big give. So it's Herbert for a chain, really, and then Monty, Shakir, and a third for Higgins, which you probably overpaid. Not probably, you did overpay for Higgins, but I am such a chain guy, I don't really care. Because it's going to give you hasn't had a game less than 16 points at the running back position, and he's giving you multiple 20-point weeks and a 40-point week to throw in. It is a lot to give up, though. What were the other quarterbacks? I'm just curious.
On his team?
Yeah, I'm just curious, I hate to be though. What else could we have done? So I get it because you have 1, 2, 3. You already have 3 starting quarterbacks, so 4. I mean, look, if you did your due diligence, let me always throw that out there. If you did your due diligence and you went through the league and tried to make another move and weren't able to pull it off, I'm fine with this deal.
Okay. So Scott, the team is now Mahomes, Dart, Daniel Jones, Puka, Amon-Ra, Waddle, T, Metcalf. We got Achane, Jacobs, Javonte, Jake Ferguson. Will I regret moving Herbert long term? Seems like moving off of strength was the right move. So how do you feel here? So again, 12 by 10, moving again to Achane and Higgins for Herbert, Monty, Shakir, and a third.
Yeah, before I saw the quarterbacks, that's what I was thinking the whole time is who are the other quarterbacks? Then you flash up his quarterback room and it's Mahomes, Dart, Daniel Jones, Herbert. I can't imagine how much production we've actually lost this year at quarterback because we have too many good options. We probably didn't get a lot of the Jackson Dart or Daniel Jones points because we were jamming in Justin Herbert and Pat Mahomes every day, every single week. Now, those guys have been good, but there was just diminishing returns with having this many quarterbacks. Now, I assume you've probably been trying to move one all year. Week 2, week 4, week 8. Now you're finally in week 12. You make this deal. Like Shane said, I hope you shopped around. You probably got the best offer you could. You did get an elite player in the deal. At least you were fishing in the right range of I needed at least one elite skill player, regardless of position, probably receiver or running back. You got one. And then getting T back, who's probably the third best piece in the deal very easily, that you could probably turn around and flip for a first if he became a little excess on your roster, right? Like he's not excess. He's probably your 4th best receiver pretty much. So you're starting him every week. But I could also look at this team and go, well, I can probably put DK and Javonte in the place of T in a flex, and it doesn't change a ton depending on the week. So I think you have another piece you could turn into an extra pick if you wanted. Waddle, T, DK, Jacobs, Javonte, any of those guys, if I could get a first, I'd be willing to do that if I feel like I'm a little overexposed because you still have that extra quarterback piece to pull from if you wanted. So I like the deal. I think it came down to you had to pull the trigger at one point. You probably weren't winning with 4 quarterbacks. Felt great, but you probably weren't getting your roster where you wanted. So I'm good with it. It was a B- trade before I saw the context. Now it's like an A- to an A. So
There you
good
go.
deal, Hoff.
And hey, that discussion on A-Chan on Manic and Chill led to this. So good job, guys. You can take a little credit, I guess. But no, I like it, Hoff. And what a timely time to get into T. Higgins.
You know
with
what?
Pace being down this week.
Real quick though, you know what the problem doing shows like this, or this show in particular, is like every time someone makes a chain trade, I'm like, I'm gonna go on Dynasty Daddy and let me just check my rostership of them and see where else I can trade for him. But anyway, makes me jealous.
Fair enough. Well, hey, we appreciate you, Hoff. We appreciate all the people who are live with us. We got Woo Bear. What's up, Woo Bear? We got old Vapad. Stinger is so slow at one time instead of 1.7. Yeah, Janner hates it, Vapad, but it's a little slower in real life. And yeah, Brian, yeah. Can we get Ty some background decor? Listen, I know. It's here. Okay, I'll get it up eventually, but it just give your boy a little bit of time. All right, I appreciate it. All right, let's move on. We got old difference maker tracks 8815. It's a 24 team start 10 best ball super flex PPR just 0.75 tight end premium. 3 tiers of 8 teams with promotion and relegation, 2 copies of players. Picks are slotted within tiers, traded away. Locked in 201, 301, Jordan Mason, Ollie Gordon, Fabrice, and Henry. Scott, I'm going to give Shane a couple of hours to kind of let that one marinate of the league settings and how all that plays out. But on this team here, Lamar, Daniel Jones, JT, Brees, Henry, Hendo, Kamara, Tootin, Adams, Tet, Higgins, Trey Tucker, any wide receiver 40 to 70, McBride, Andrews, Jawan Johnson. We got 101, 103, and either a 103 or 105 in the bank. 24 by 10. We trade away 2-1, 3-1 Mason, Ollie, for Brees, and Henry. How do you feel?
Well, I think the one thing that people need to put in, and not his fault specifically, but in best ball, what matters most, honestly, with this trade is probably how many roster spots you have, because I'm looking at a 4 for 2. You're clearly getting the best 2 players. You're getting, especially in best ball, the position typically hardest to find just locked in scoring every week is running back. It's not receiver. It's not tight end. Ty, you know very well you can usually hunt for a couple of those every single week on waivers, and it's like, oh, Colby Parkinson or Isaiah Hodgins. And yeah, sure, they're probably not going to do it consistently, but for that week, much better shot than digging at the bottom of the running backs looking for somebody that's going to get you 10 points. So I think up tiering to running backs here, giving away 2 lesser running backs, but I think both those running backs that he gave away are guys you need to roster, but you don't want 5 of those types because you're looking at a bunch of just 6-point weeks, 4-point weeks. So I like that deal, but I like it even more if we're talking like 24-man rosters, 26-man, because I don't even feel the loss of the extra 2 pieces because I'm going to waivers going, oh, wait a second. If I have any open roster spots or whatever, I can add a player off waivers. You know, I can essentially, it's a numbers game where you know you're going to be able to get back to baseline because of the nature of best ball. So I love the deal in that capacity. You didn't give up a first. You still have a ton of flexibility, and it definitely makes your lineup stronger. So I love it. Great trade. This is a perfect best ball trade, Ty, because you consolidated, but you also know you can go make up that lack of numbers very much easily the rest of the year with roster spots.
Yeah. Having the multi-copy piece make that basically a 12-team league. That tells me there's going to be some guys out there. We have those multi-copy leagues, and like you said, you can always find a wide receiver dart, a tight end dart to add on there. Finding those consolidated running back options are few and far between, and I feel myself want to be more robust at running back in best ball, especially in those shallower bench leagues. Now, Shane, do you feel like he leaned too hard into running back with this roster construction? Should he use someone like Tet, Jaden Higgins, or any of the high-end first to tier up at wide receiver, or sit tight? How do you feel?
Man, I used Tet to tier up on 2 occasions last week, and then Tet went out there and had the game of his freaking life. And then Drake London injured his knee. But sure, can you tier up? But like, how high can you get? Right? Like, because Tet's wide receiver 12, wide receiver 13. Like, really, it only makes sense if you're getting players like Rashee Rice or Drake London. And even then, when you do it, it does feel like an overpay, and it probably is an overpay if we're being honest, especially in best ball. If you can use Higgins, sure, I'll use Higgins coming off a really nice game, right? Had a touchdown. He could have had another one if you knew where the sideline was. I don't know. I don't know if can you ever lean into the running back construction too hard, Scott? Do you think that's a possibility in life?
No, but especially not in best ball.
Right.
I mean, I'll be honest, in best ball, when I get a guy like Jaden Higgins, I'm not interested in tearing up.
Yeah.
You know, the tear up, it's got to go to like Amon-Ra.
Mm-hmm.
Like it's that type of tear up. And if somebody is playing in a league and a lot of people are used to playing lineup, they're just not going to sell a guy that's when you say tear up, it has to be a guy every week is outscoring Jaden Higgins' best 2 games of the year.
Yeah.
Otherwise, like I can win with 5 Jaden Higgins, probably beats your Amon-Ra 40% of the time. Now I have to spend 5 roster spots on it. That's the difference. But depending on the depth here, this is why I think the cascading effect of tearing up at running back is even more valuable. Because guess what? I don't need 6 extra running backs on my roster now. I don't need to roster Bam Knight.
Yeah,
I don't need to roster Chris
spots.
Rodriguez because I'm hoping I get 1 10-point game out of those guys. I'm probably locking in 4 or 5 stud running backs now. Or not studs, but you know what I mean?
Yeah.
Guys that are locking in a workload every week. That allows me to go, oh, wait a second. Instead of needing to tear up with a first and Jaden Higgins, let me just go add 2 dart receivers. Maybe I can swap out. Hell, Ty's in a bunch of best ball league. You can trade a guy like Chris Rodriguez or Emmanuel Wilson. You can trade those guys for like a 3rd or a 4th. So you get back some of what you just gave up in a deal to up tier. Then you go pick off receivers off the waiver wire. And how many times have you seen the Isaiah Hodgins outscore Justin Jefferson? And you're just like, what?
Well, just
what can
think
you
about
do?
this season, right? You had Omendeus Zacchaeus.
Whatever
that was supposed to be. Omendeus Zacchaeus. It's just getting worse. But there's, I was going to say, in best ball, those wide receivers, that's fine. They're going to pop for you at one point.
Ryan Flournoy had a huge
Flournoy.
game.
There
Like Tez Johnson. Like those
Tucker.
types, you have to have volume. You have to have numbers. You have to have the right construction. So when you get 2 up tiers at running backs, this just means you can go slimmer at running back, and you need them to stay healthy. It's why if you're built that way and you lose a Breece Hall for a month, it hurts. You can't fix it. You have to kind of just either find a cross-positional deal or see if somebody will bail you out for another player. But I'm good. I don't need to tier up. Not with a high end first.
Just give me as many top 40 running backs as I can jam onto the roster and let me move on. But he's in second place in the middle tier. Strong opportunity to get up to the top tier. Well, go get it, difference maker. Hope good luck this year. Got a couple weeks left to hopefully find that promotion. Shout out to Echelon joining the upper echelon of DDFFB watchers, joining the Trades and Chill tier. We appreciate it. Tanner H, what's up? 12 teams, start 11, Superflex, a 1.75 tight end premium. We got Daniels, Hertz, McCarthy, Genty, Walker, Rice, Ibuka, Ladd, BTJ, Ayuk, Loveland, 3 and 8 in 12th place. Has all of his picks and an extra 26 second and an extra 6 26 thirds. Currently, they have the 101, Shane, and he was offered Rice and a mid third for London and Dobbins. Talk to me.
So it's a Rice London swap, and then Dobbins for a third, who's on the IR. That's an interesting deal. Why? I'm just curious what the other dude, what he's thinking. Like that's I need production right now type of move, except that London's not playing this week, and you're not going to see JK for about a month. I'd make the deal, but I also have Rice slightly ahead of Drake London. And the difference between them is wider than Dobbins and a third difference there. So I'm okay with it. It is kind of lateral. Let's just go back to the team. Rice, Ibuka. Wait a minute. He has Rice.
Offered Rice. So maybe
he'd be getting London.
So he had London and Dobbins.
Oh, okay. I mean, it's kind of lateral, but I'm fine with it again because I do prefer Rice over London. But this is one of those kind of like it's just a preference trade. I do like that, you got something for Dobbins right now because in 4 weeks, no one's going to want Dobbins because it's going to be, the end of the season and he's an old running back.
Yeah. I mean, on this team, 3 and 8 in 12th place, like you're flexible with what you can take back. So I don't feel like I need to get into Rice and a third there, but especially having 6 already. But London and Dobbins, I don't know. Scott, do you feel any way on this deal?
It's a square deal. I mean, the Rice and London, if you cancel those out, I think Dobbins for a third. A year ago, I would have said take this deal. But I'm starting to rethink things a little bit, especially with this upcoming class, with these thirds. We had talked about it the other day in voice chat. I mean, those that are in here watching this, most of you are probably already in there or have jumped in the Discord before, but like, there's something to be said when you have this many thirds. Now, you need Dobbins to have an injury that's not really bad, right? That we don't know about. And it's a 9-month injury. And we're like, I don't know, is he even going to sign anywhere before next year? But if he's fine, I think we saw enough from him this year. He's a starter-ish next year. He's in a backfield. Doesn't mean he's going to get as much work as he did or it's as good of a situation as it was this year. He's going to be a guy you can start at some point. Like, and I don't mind even on rebuilding teams starting to use thirds, fourths, players that people want now but may not want later to load up, especially the running back stable going into next year. Because here's the thing, you're not guaranteed. You may have 8 thirds, 7 seconds, some fourths, but guess what? You need to build out an entire running back room. And when we say entire running back room, like a dynamic running back room, I want a Gibbs. I want a high-end rookie. I want 2 or 3 guys that are starters but nobody likes. Then I want a couple Dobbinses. Then I want some rookies. Like, I want layers to my running back room, and Dobbins fits that. Last year, I would have gone, oh, he's useless. He'll never start again. Take a third. But I got stuck with a lot of Trevor Etienne's and Brashard Smiths. And it's like, yeah, you can be right on those guys, but I'm staring right now. Do I really need 10 Jarquez Hunters? Or could I have maybe pivoted one of those to an injured James Conner or a J.K. Dobbins, that type? So you don't need 6 thirds. So I could have been fine keeping the Dobbins side. Rice and London don't care. But and if you tell me there's going to be a right market for your thirds, fine. I don't need the player today. I'll hold the draft capital. But it's an interesting trade because I think there's something to be said on bad teams. I mean, Ty, real quick, you can get James Conner on a rebuilder for like a throw-in quarterback spot start in a 4th. Like, that's the kind of deal I would not have wanted to do last year. But this year, and especially I think we know this year's running back class is probably not the one that's going to come in and produce 6 day 3 starters. This is kind of the one where I'm willing to go back to the well for even another year of the Camaras and Mixons and Connors. And if they fade away, they fade away. But I want to get them now before I have to pay the second when they have a role in August.
Yeah. And if I'm sitting there with someone like a Monty, even on a retooling roster, he's probably going to be the same thing next year. Mm-hmm. Right. So I'm not motivated just to send him away for any second, just to pay that second once again to get him on the roster. I don't want to do too many moves if I can help it.
Now, if you have 5 Monties, you would do a couple, right? Yes. I think that doesn't it come down to like you're already starting to look at the build of your running back room next year. Like, if he's the only one you have, I don't need 2 thirds, even if he's not really worth more than 2 thirds today. But if I have 6 of those guys, my team's falling out of it, I can afford to move 1 or 2. I think that's it's understanding what your running back construction is going to look like next year and not straying too far away from that, because then there's more work you have to do to get back to it.
Right. 100%. And fun fact, just go to your league, go to players, sort by ADP for the year. You'll find some of those guys that have been dropped that were popular coming into the year and got hurt, right? See what's out there on your waivers. I found a Braylon Allen sitting out there this week. So yeah, go have fun. Kevin Burke, what's up? Got ourselves a $20 super chat. I assume that's American, so good job, everybody. 12 teams, start 11, PPR, no tight end premium. We have Daniels, JD5, Stafford, and I see a note here. He says, Baker, JD5, Stafford. Okay, gotcha. Jacobs, Kyron, Bucky, Henry, Jefferson, Puka, Amon-Ra, Nico, McBride. Yoo-hoo, great team. Trade Jefferson and Bucky for Higgins, Hendo, and a 26 mid first. Other moves to make headed into the playoffs. Scott, that's a big boy deal. Jefferson and Bucky for Higgins, Hendo, and a mid 26 first. 12 by 11. How do you feel?
Hi, Shane. Shane's humming away. Shane already has his answer, huh?
Yeah,
okay, so I think it's a fair deal. I can see both sides of why you want to do this trade, right?
Yeah.
I think Hendo. Here's the thing, Hendo
greater than Justin Jefferson, because that's what he has to be for this deal to make sense.
Yeah, I think it's more of the gap between Hendo and Jefferson, or Jefferson and Higgins, and then Bucky for Hendo and a first is a no-brainer.
Oh, wait a minute.
It's the value of the first. I think if you break down If you told me you're trading your Bucky for Travion Henderson, I think we would all take that trade right now.
Is this
what's going on with Bucky?
Yeah, is it actually, you know what? One thing, is this T Higgins?
I assume yes.
Yes.
All right. Well, I don't know. There's a couple Higgins in the league, and I thought it was the
all
other
right.
one. So that does change my
I like the
opinion.
package side because I think I can do a lot more with the mid first right now, and I would take Henderson. I value Henderson over Bucky with what the market says. With who knows what's going on with Bucky? It sounds like he could be back, but Henderson's the it thing right now. If it continues, you're going to have the RB4 in Dynasty coming in the offseason. So I think you're buying an upward asset there, whereas Bucky's a stagnant / maybe even downward asset if things go poorly the rest of this year. And then it's T. Higgins and a mid first for Justin Jefferson. Funny thing is, you may not get more production out of Justin Jefferson the rest of the year than T. Higgins, which is kind of crazy. The only downside, Shane, then I'll kick it to you. Look at this roster.
Mm-hmm.
I don't need to split pieces here. Mm-hmm. I don't have to. I can just say, hey, what can I get for Bucky Irving if I want to move off risk? But I don't have to include Justin Jefferson in this trade if I don't want to, because my team's already pretty stacked. You know what I mean? Like, I'm already up tiered to what? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 like hammer players. And then you're still looking at like, is Kyron, Jacobs, those guys hammers? Like, they're not every week, but they're damn good. Like, you'd up tier to those guys for a first plus if you had the right pieces. So I don't think you need to do this deal.
Well, let's say you had Higgins and Hendo. Higgins isn't going to start for you, so he's a bench piece. Obviously, Hendo is. So then, sure, can I use the 26 first and Nico to get, I don't know, someone like Justin Jefferson? Probably not this year. I'm not going to do it with Puka because it's Puka. I'm not going to add anything to ARSB. You don't really need to split anything. I will say this though, this is a good way to just bank in some extra value into your roster. Now that I know it's not Jaden Higgins and then it's T Higgins, I'm all on board and I'm fine with this. Bucky's going to be back next week. That was the quickest. I don't know if we're ever going to see him again. To guys, he's playing next week. You're like, shut up, go away. And look, I've never been a Bucky guy, but you cannot dispute how good he is, especially when you watch Rachaad White up until the last 2 weeks, just plotting his way into the trying to run, just plodding along. Like Bucky's really good. I think people are forgetting how good Bucky was. So yeah, I'm fine with this deal. I'm fine with it.
Yeah. When I look at this team, like this is your starting roster on the screen. I'm sure you have on your bench guys you would love to put in for a flex start, but you simply cannot work their way in. So if you feel like having that first, gives a little more flexibility, a little more insurance, gives you something that maybe opens up a spot to get that spot start running back in there. I'm cool with it, but also this is a wonderful team. So probably whatever you're doing, keep doing that, and you will probably keep winning with this one. So we appreciate the super chat, Kevin. Good stuff. Our boy Echelon's back, our newest member here. 12 teams start 10 PPR Superflex, no tight end premium. Traded Bucky and Ladd for Achane, Wandale, and a fourth. Team is now May, Purdy, Darnold, CMC, Achane, Harvey, Dowdle, Amon-Ra, Nico, BTJ, Smitty, Wandale, Jennings, McBride, Loveland, and Theo. Okay. Shane, Bucky and Ladd, pretty nice. But we've just talked about Bucky. I think he'll come back next. Again, I saw the sleeper notification. He has a chance to return this week, and it felt like 2 minutes later he was ruled out. Okay. Yeah. Then Achane, Waddle, and a fourth. I've been getting a lot of Wandale on the low. Achane, we know your love for Achane, and a fourth. On this team, are you making that deal, trading Bucky and Ladd for Achane, Wandale, and the fourth?
I don't like how Ladd and Wandale are pretty far apart, right? Achane and Bucky aren't that far apart as far as like the distance between Ladd and Wandale Robinson. Fourth, I don't really care about in this circumstance. That's just to try to make the value even out, which again to me right here doesn't matter. And you're not even doing this for this week, right? Because the chain's not playing. I would probably just lean the Bucky and Ladd side. I think it was 3 weeks ago or 4 weeks ago, when Ladd broke out like 2 games in a row. and everybody was back on him because that's how quick and fickle the dynasty community moves, right? It moves quickly like that. That's how we day trade players. I feel like this is an overpay for basically a chain because Wan'Dell's a guy there's 48 Wan'Dells that I could get throughout the league. So I think it's an overpay as much as I love a chain.
Yeah. Scott, like on this team, it feels like that was I really want to shore up my RB2. Maybe my temperature has changed a bit on Dowdle. I mean, having CMC and HN, that's awesome. But that I agree with Shane there, right? I think once Bucky does come back, we'll probably feel like he's just Bucky again. Yeah, maybe there'll be a week where he's on a snap count, and maybe that's the week you need those points. So, like, as we gear up for the playoffs here, Scott, like, do you feel an increased pressure to try to make some tier up deals like this on a roster like this, which is fairly decently filled out?
Well, we don't have the context here, right? Achan's not playing this week. Ladd's not playing this week. Bucky's not playing this week. So this deal is not I need to win week 12 or I don't care about week 12. That probably had no impact on it. So it is definitely a move where you're playing for the rest of the year. My only problem with this trade is you're not using Wan'Dell. Like, he's not even in your lineup. You're deciding, do I play Wan'Dell Robinson over Juwan Jennings, Brian Thomas Jr., or Rico Dowdle? That's probably your last flex. So if you had a need and you really wanted to up tier and then slide Wan'Dale into your last starting spot, I'd be fine with that because I don't think his market's close to Ladd, but he's not that far off from Ladd in terms of actual production. So, I mean, if I'm not starting him, why am I trading for him? That's the flaw in this deal. If you want to do a 2-for-1 and then you free up a spot to do something different with it, sure. Now, if you let's say you inserted Achane in a second instead of Wan'Dale in the fourth, and I said I could then take that second later on and buy another starter when one of my other guys that I'm relying on goes down, or I need to shore up something before the playoffs, I could live with that deal. I think it's the form of the deal. You gave up arguably the second and third best player, not even close. And it probably fit your team better to have Bucky and Ladd in your lineup than it would be just searching for a spot to put Wan'Dale in there. So, and you definitely have more movability with Bucky and Ladd. If they both come back next week and they're good, like, you have a player probably that's at least worth a first that you can move. And I'm probably not going to be, like you just said, if Bucky comes back, you're probably not, yeah, sure, you might think Achane's better, but in a 4-week stretch, I may not even feel the gap between Achane and Bucky. That's possible. So I'm not doing this. It's the form of the deal that bugs me. I don't mind the up tier. It's just I'm starting Wan'Dale. Why do I want to trade for him?
Yeah, fair enough. The difference for me was whether Bucky was going to come back or not. Some scary reports. I hear you, right?
It was
Mike Florio
yesterday.
probably. He was fearful Bucky was done for the year and maybe was going to be out of the NFL. Right?
It was literally yesterday that jackheaded fool was talking about, I don't know when we're going to see him again. That dude is such an idiot. Like, he's just a moron. Not the Florio we like. Not that one. He's cool.
I like Pro Football Talk Florio. You know why? Because he
rubs ass and spews anything. He spews anything. So when you're right, 14% of the time, people remember that. Like Diana Rossini. She's going to get a report right, and everyone's going to go, all right, she was right.
But I don't want. I will say this. I think the NFL glazes the positivity way too much. You need reporters that'll just go, this is bullshit. Nobody's telling us what's going on with Bucky. We want to, and Florio's been big on transparency, meaning if I'm gambling on these games, I want to be able to see the dude's medical records. Don't be vague. Oh, he might practice in a month. Like, give all the details. And I think he went over the top and this was a clickbait thing with Bucky. Like, he heard something from somebody and then it turned into a big deal, which is probably why the Buccaneers came out and
here's the problem.
Nip that shit in the bud right away. Like, he's playing next week.
Here's the problem. You want to pretend you're a journalist, then you have to adhere to journalist standards. And he didn't do that. Not in any way did he do that. Like, a real journalist, which these people aren't, NFL reporters aren't that. Just put that out there. So if they ever have a journalist anywhere in their bio, they're
supporting the Shield.
Yeah. Yeah.
And he's one of the ones that he wants to do everything.
Yeah. Sorry. So anyway, all that said, I think it was a little bit of an overpay for Devon and Shane.
we may not have real reporters, but we got some real contenders. We got to tune up here, fellas. So Alec Milan, 12 teams, start 10, PPR 1.5 for tight ends. The team is now Hurts, Dart, Geno, Brissett, CMC, Achane, Brees, Tracy, CD, AJ Brown, Hunter, Jennings, Terry and some depth, Kittle. Trade away Tyreek, my 27 first and fourth for CMC and Brian Robinson. Shane, Tyreek, whatever, man, a fourth, whatever. The 27 first for the CMC nuke and a little insurance policy in Brian Robinson on a 12x10. Any issues with that deal?
No, good for you. Good for you. I always say this and people probably get tired of hearing it. It's like literally trading for a top 3 quarterback in Superflex. You've added one to your roster that just happens to play running back. Tyreek doesn't count. A fourth doesn't count. Well, sure. B-Rob and a fourth cancel each other out. So it's like a Tyreek and a first for CMC. I would do that. Absolutely. As great as the 27 class is, I'm trying to win right now, and this will help me.
I mean, as soon as anything happens to CMC, I guess the value goes up in your Brian Robinson, but that's not why you're doing the deal. You're doing the deal to get that CMC. He won last year with a wildly different team, bought CMC from an 8-3 team who didn't think he had the depth to compete. So you're taking someone out of the market to win. I like that. He's unlikely to have a bye, but nestled into the 3 seed pretty easily. He has very little draft cap the next 2 years, but felt okay bolstering up the lineup and knocking out a contender. The league's not top heavy and fairly inactive with top assets spread out. So that's pretty interesting, Scott. We usually see that top assets consolidate on a few teams, maybe an open trade market, but talk about knocking a contender out with a deal. And then just briefly, what do you think about setting up 27 first, Tyreek and a fourth for CMC and Brian Robinson?
Yeah, I'll keep this one brief. I mean, there's some extrinsic value to getting him off of another team that was around you or competing with you in the standings. And that is a player that any given week could go for 30 plus. And he's the team that could, as the 5 seed, upset you in the playoffs. So I do think you did yourself a service by getting him off of another playoff contending team. I also like getting Brian Robinson for a fourth and Tyreek Hill. Brian Robinson's a running back. He probably has surviving power into the future years, even if it's on another team. So like I would do that deal without the McCaffrey for a first. So you got that second piece that happens to also be a handcuff this year, but also maybe a standalone running back in the future. I love the trade. Very savvy, and it rounds your team out. You know, the only downside is like you don't have a pick now. Your flexibility is way lower. You don't have any draft capital to fix it. Something happens in McCaffrey, then the whole point of the trade is moot. But I like it.
I'd say that's the one thing. Your team's a little like it doesn't have a lot of like sexy assets per se, but you have a lot of point producers. So lean into it. 3 seed, go get it. Thanks, Alec. And we'll go on to Cam Frost here. 10x10, 4 -2 quarterback scoring and a 0.5 PPR, 1 point tight end premium. Lamar, Brissett, Fields, Flacco, Aaron Jones, Swift, Kamara, Tucker, running backs in a 53. We got Chase, Tet, Rome, Golden, McBride, 326 first, all mid to late, 227 first, and likely sneaking into the 4-team playoff. He has a super team offering him Brees, Ferg, the 101 and 26, 28 first for McBride, Kamara, and Chris Rodriguez. The value is obviously a smash, but he's having a hard time hitting accept. Tell me why I'm crazy and convince me to accept. I mean, you're talking to McBride. I'm a big McBride. I'm shoveling the coal into the train here for McBride. It's been going all off season. Scott, you just talked with Ray on the Trinity show about Trey McBride and how in certain formats, man, like I don't think I'd trade McBride for a wide receiver period, like in the right spots here. So I definitely get having hesitancy moving off of McBride. And you have Kamara and C-Rod as well. So how do you feel about in that Brees, Ferg, a 101 and a first for McBride, Kamara, and Chris Rod in this 10x10?
I had like 2 seconds of hesitation because it's a super team and you hate seeing super team and then giving them probably the one thing that they're not super at. The same time, though, you're getting Brees Hall entering free agencies or running back people like. If he goes anywhere that people like easily a first plus and just whenever you want it. The guaranteed 101. So just think it's Ashton Genty again, but better. Listening to Ray talk about Jeremiah Love, like he's better than Ashton Genty in almost every aspect. He's going to be a mid first round pick or higher. Like he's exactly what you would want in. He just doesn't have the name Bijan or Genty, but like you can probably put him right in that range. So getting that and another first. Oh yeah, I'm still getting a top 10 tight end in Jake Ferguson that's tied to one of the best environments. Like you got to take the trade and just hope. I don't want to say you hope anything negative happens to McBride, but this is a massive overpay, even from the super team. I'm taking the trade and just going, my team probably couldn't beat the super team today, but I have a better chance after this trade, even if the super team got better. I got 30% better. He got 10% better. I'm taking it.
Shane, sometimes in shallow leagues, it feels like the side with more dynasty value isn't always the right move. So give Cam some guidance on when to take the value versus when to pass.
It's never really the right move. The only time, the only thing I get concerned about in the shallow league is if like I go too far, I skew too far to the other side, right? Where it's just nothing but old people. But you're not that. You're not there. So 7 which I said was the right move. Would love some guidance. Brees. Okay, break his team for me real quick.
Yeah, I got you.
It's not like I'm struggling how to word this, but it's not like you have a bunch of like. I worry about when you have too much dynasty value when it's a bunch of flat assets, right? When it's a bunch of wide receiver twos, something like that, right? To me, I don't want a bunch of those, even if on Dynasty Daddy, my points will look really good because I have a lot of wide receiver twos. I have, a bunch of wide receiver threes. You're getting a running back that, like Scott said, it can be a running back one. Besides the fact, if he does go anywhere, you could probably trade him for anything you want. Imagine he goes to KC. Just imagine that happens, like we've all been dreaming. He's immediately going to be worth as much as, well, pretty much any running back except Bijan and Gibbs, who are out, on an island on their own. Go back to this one. Yeah, take him. So I'm fine taking the deal. I'm sorry, what was the tight end premium again?
1. So 1.5 total.
Yeah. But you're still getting the 101. And like Scott said, Jeremiah Love's going to be a stud. So like shallow leagues, I really do love to have hammer running backs more than anything. Like I'll figure out the wide receivers because there's going to be enough of them to have that can give me replaceable production. So just give me the hammer running backs. And this is what this puts you in line for that.
Yeah. When to do it, when to pass, does it move your team forward? This team, adding those hammer running backs and the shot at Love, adding Brees and bet on the future, that moves this team forward more than what else he sent away. So I like it, Cam. Good luck and go get yourself move forward in that league. Vapad, what's up, buddy? 12 by 11 Superflex rebuilding team. Send T. Higgins and a 27 third for Garrett Wilson and old Rattler, the Rattlesnake Scott. Just talk about really quick, no context, rebuilding team. T and a third for Garrett Wilson and Rattler.
Yeah, I think it's a good pivot. I don't even know if he's trying to shed points, but if he is, it could only help probably. I think it's fair to say that if the Jets situation doesn't improve, like it's not a big difference between T and Garrett Wilson. I'd probably take Garrett Wilson, but there's just a lot of unknown with him. I'd be fine with a third for Rattler. I'm also fine holding Rattler in a deal where I want to collect backup quarterbacks. But I think rebuilding, don't care about the backup quarterback as much. Give me the extra pick. I'm good with it. You probably think you got a better receiver, right, Shane? You got Garrett Wilson over T. Higgins, and the other team is desperate to get anything they can for Garrett Wilson, and they're probably good with T. Higgins. This is a deal with Shane. Okay.
Yeah. Oh, it's with me. Now,
wait a second.
One of us is competing. Just put it that.
Probably you, right?
Yeah. So I'm trying to get the points right now.
Yep.
But from a long-term perspective, it's G-Dub easy. And that's why I sent the offer. It's a fair deal. It's G-Dub easy long-term because narrative. As soon as anything positive happens to the Jets, like, I don't know, getting a quarterback that can throw, his stock's going to bounce back. T is what he is. There's nothing T could do to raise his stock in fantasy football. Absolutely none to increase his value. So if you just look at it from that perspective, you're fine. If you look at it from an actual production perspective, G-Dub was actually having a really good year up until his final game, and then when he got injured in the last 2 games. So, no, I like the deal for you, Vapad. I like it for me because I'm trying to win now, but I like it for you as well.
I mean, he's got a decent rebuilding squad. Baker, Fields, Brown, Benson, Connor, Najee, Neighbors, G-Dub.
He did list Fields.
Bauer, yeah, right.
I think I'd rather have Rattler.
I'd
rather list Rattler over Fields.
I was literally just looking in that league, Vapad, to see if there's any other moves I can make. So, yeah.
Well, how about this for another move in this same one, right? So send Chase Brown Bowers, and McKee for Kyler, Theo, and 227 first.
No.
I know I am. I learned on the street. Maybe I'm too high on Brock Bowers. I don't think I am, but maybe I am. Even in a 2.0 small juice. No, I'm keeping Bowers and Chase Brown.
And you
That's
know what?
not enough for Bowers.
Even if 2 firsts for Bowers was fair, I'm not giving up Chase Brown for nothing because he's a running back. Like, he's probably a guy that next year is a running back you're going to want that's worth at least a second, maybe even more. It's like, that's the part of the trade that I think is great if you're getting the Bowers side. Yes, you had to pay 227 first for Bowers, but you basically got Chase Brown thrown in. That's not just a throw in. So I do not want to do that, Derek. Do not do that one, Vapad.
No, do not. All right. I'll hit a little early. We got 20 minutes left. We still got a lot of deals because we got a lot of these rosters we're trying to tune up. So gear up like Lando Norris this weekend. Gonna take home a little championship. John D'Amato, what's up? 12 teams, start 10, PPR, Superflex, and a 0.5 tight end premium. Josh Allen, Kyler, Brisket, Mariota, Gibbs, Achan, Genty, nice. Jefferson, Ibuka, Marv, Keenan, Tez, and Gadsden. It's an 8-3 contender. Trade his contending first, second, and Tez for Saquon. Shane, the Philly man. Saquon for a first, second, and Tez.
I mean, you need a running back too. I can't. Can I do better? I can. Let me just try to do better first. Look, I know Saquon has the name cachet, but he ain't producing. He's not producing. He's not elite this year. I'm looking elsewhere. I don't like this deal. I'm looking elsewhere. I'm not paying a first for Saquon. I'm not adding shit to a first to get to Saquon either. That's guaranteed. I don't care if it's Tez or no, I'm not doing it. I don't. Not adding a second.
Not for your RB4, on a 12x10 there. You can probably use that first elsewhere.
Because you already have, Genty. So you already have your running back that's really good, but on a struggling offense that can't let him produce. So no, I'll pass.
Yeah. Appreciate you, John. Roy G, 12x11 Superflex lineup with an extra point for tight ends. He's a very old team, but has no choice but to push it in. Currently in third and pushing for the bye. A lot of pushing in this deal. Trade away Scat, a third and a first for CMC and Troy Franklin. Scott, that Scataboo has retained value. He's on raw. He's drinking energy drinks out of a shoe. He's doing everything. Scat, a first and a third for CMC and Troy Franklin.
Yeah, I mean, I don't know if you guys saw the clip with the Neon interview where he described his interview and he used that word, tightrope, which is not the type of ankle surgery you want to see for him to get back to what he was. Now, he still has value, obviously. You paid a first for McCaffrey here. Honestly, as long as you're starting Troy Franklin, I don't even mind trading Scataboo for a guy like Franklin. Like, it feels like you'd rather have the running back, but this is a good bailout trade. You got value for Scataboo. You had to kick in an extra third. We've already talked about a first for CMC. Sounds like he has a team that maybe probably can't unload a lot of the old pieces he has, so he is forced to lean into buying another old piece just to go with it. So, yeah, I'm fine with it, Roy.
He's got a second and a third to go grab a vet wide receiver. Mahomes, Purdy, Brisket, a nice running back room.
That running back room: CMC, Barkley, Jacobs, Kamara, Aaron Jones. That is
Jacobs,
Chase, and Cody and all over it.
Yeah.
Well, no, but that is a fragile running back room right there, just from the market's perspective, right?
Yes, because they're all 40-year-old men. Yes.
Yeah. But Franklin fits in that wide receiver room pretty nice. Schultz, Otton, and Muth, you'll get by. So, Roy, it's a decent team. 12x11. Good luck. Mr. Jordan Jackson, 12x9 Superflex contender. We traded Bucky and a third for Adams and my 2026 second, which is projected early. So you're a contending roster, but you're 26 seconds early. I'm a little confused there, but Shane, Adams in a second for Irving and a third. I don't think we're there on Irving. I want Irving and a third there.
I want to know how he has an early 26 second when he's projected to make the playoffs. I need to know. So he needs to hit us up. Snake draft.
I mean, Mahomes, Joey B, Baker, Barkley, Hall, Woody, Hubbard, Amon-Ra, Smitty, Terry, Godwin, Downs, Burden, Adams, and Hawk.
Oh, yeah. If you win the title, you get the 201.
Yeah. It's a snake draft.
So his good team is looking at a great second round pick. 12 by 9, though, I'm not doing it.
No.
And I think these Bucky deals are probably before people were excited that Bucky's coming back next week. I think a lot of people the first couple days of this week were. I looked at a couple Bucky teams. What will I just take to get out of any risk the rest of the year?
Yeah, those 3 p.m. Dynasty Deal Show trades come in. And they hit.
I like the Tay side too. I mean, it's Devontae, but no, I want Bucky. Look, you held on this all this time. Why are you going to move him now, a week before he's about to come back, and he's going to be a league winner? He just is.
Because he hates football, Shane, and he's going to quit.
He lost 3 in a row, and he couldn't wait. That's why he made the move. We're at that point of the season. I get it.
Fair enough, man. Fair enough. Yep. Good luck there. Matt, 12 team, start 11, 0.75 tight end premium. You got Hurts, Kyler, Brissett, and backups, Javonte, Rico, Sharps, Kamara, Ramondre, any running back on a 53, Tet, Pickens, Marv, Parker, Washington, McBride, and Kittle. I'm about to be 9-3 and just traded my first and Jonnu Smith for Kittle and a third. Scott, I mean, I can see Kittle being a positional difference maker down the stretch of what we've seen so far. Purdy back as well. How do you feel there? First and Jonnu, which should be late based on how he described his team for Kittle and a third.
Can I just comment on how many teams, and I have probably 4 or 5 of them, that are just horsing Jacoby Brissett is at quarterback 2, and you feel great about it the rest of the year. You're like, I'm plugging him in, and it feels just as good as if you had like CJ Stroud or like you don't even care. You're just excited to have him as your QB2. Yeah, listen, 100%. I've been very adamant about I'm willing to trade 26 first, especially when you know they're going to be late. This is your one dart. This is your one bullet to fire. If you want to fire it on George Kittle because you think that's the best bang for your buck to upgrade your team, go for it. I probably would have looked, what else can I do with it instead? But not every league has a player you want, and maybe you want the player today versus in 2 weeks, or maybe you have a trade deadline. We don't know. Like, I'm fine with it. I'm fine moving my 26 late first for production. This is a class where I'm not feeling like I'm going to get super upset if I moved away the 111. Hopefully it's the 112 for your sake, but I'm good with it, Matt.
It's weaker at wide receiver, but they're tougher to buy in this league. So if you'd be stronger than the rest of the league at tight end. Thoughts on that strategy? I employ a lot of bully ball tight end leagues, more so in best ball than lineup. So all you got to kind of balance is, okay, I'm basically buying a flex. What is that worth? And does that limit me by not allowing me to plug in this wide receiver or running back on my roster? Does that fit what I want to do? Or do I think I can backfill with tight end for much cheaper versus actually tearing up there? So you got to ask yourself that question, know what's happening in your league there, Matt. But hey, thank you as always, and keep killing it with this team. We appreciate you. Let's go back to VAPAT. 12 team start 11 super flex, a 2.0 tight end premium, a 0.15 point per carry, 1.5 running back PP rebuilding. No, running back premium. It's a rebuilding roster. Send Schultz and a fringe playoff first for Olave and Spears. Olave, Shane, you were loud on Olave, and we've been hurt by Olave, but Olave, I'm hopeful for the future on him. Schultz and a fringe first for Olave and Spears.
Yeah, I'm back in, baby. All the way back in Olave. Now, I was since like week 3 when I saw that, all right, his target share is typical Chris Olave, and he hasn't gotten concussed. The further you get away from the last concussion, the less you worry about it. It doesn't mean that he's not prone to them, but you feel better, right? It's been a full year, knock on wood. So I'd absolutely do this. Like, I've offered fringe firsts for Olave. Maybe I needed to add a Schultz to it to get it done. So maybe I'm going to try that because yes, I would do this. And you get Tajay Spears if that doesn't matter. I gotta be honest, it doesn't matter at all. Well, I'm looking at him and Tony Pollard every week. I don't care who's getting the more opportunities. They're both ass. But no, I like getting Olave for this.
Yeah, I've sent late fringe first for Olave, and I would expect at least a fringe first for Olave if I'm moving him. So that's the price. And I don't mind getting that Spears for Schultz if that's what you're doing.
Can I offer a quick rebuttal on this trade?
Sure.
So I'm looking right now at just pull up the old
2.0.
2.0, 0.15 point per carry. Receivers matter a lot less. Dalton Schultz and Chris Olave are scoring the same amount of points. So it's just not. It's not a league format. I'm giving first for receivers unless I know I'm getting difference making production. I mean, Schultz is at 17 points per game in 2 PPR. And he's probably the Texans starter next year. So it's one of those where it's like you gave away. I see what he's trying to do. He's trying to get off of a late first and a tight end that nobody has liked for years. But I'm the team in the league that would be going like, I would take this deal because I can just play Dalton Schultz in the same exact place that I'm starting Chris Olave.
There is, the non-zero chance that Dalton Schultz turns into what he's been the rest of his career, which is a jag. He's had little pocket
But in
runs.
2 PPR, like he's locking in 60 catches a year.
Maybe
this is like his 4th straight year of doing it. I mean, he's not a sexy asset, but he is a productive tight end that is never going to have any trade value. But I'm not giving up Dalton Schultz for nothing in a league like this. He's very flexible.
I get that it's tight end premium, so that skews it, right? But I'm just looking at player profile. His best season ever, 12.3 fantasy points per game. Like he's the replaceable piece. I get that, but he's the replaceable piece. So go get
Chris Olave.
Go get you know what? Then you know what? You've talked me into it. You know what? Let me use this first in Dalton Schultz to get a real tight end. Let me do that. Sure. Let me do that instead.
Gotta be Gadsden, Warren, or higher. Like that's the type of, because I'm looking at this, I'm willing in this format specifically. I don't need, if I don't have top 12 receivers, my next receiver starting can be anybody that I can throw in there. Like I can flex Schultz and it's still the type of player that people will not value because his name's Dalton Schultz. So
no, you talked me into at least
and
your line of thinking.
You're starting
the line of thinking at least.
You're starting to carry running backs over receivers too in a point per carry. It just devalues the flexes a little bit. That's all.
I got you.
Well, here, Scott, talk me through this format then from Vapad. 14 by 12 super flex, juiced quarterback scoring, 0.25 rushing for first down, a 0.15 point per carry, and 2.0 tight end premium midseason startup. Traded back in the startup, get more draft capital, but could theoretically make playoffs to get a top 3 pick or get a top 3 picks. So you have to start 3 running backs, 3 wide receivers, and 2 tight ends. Sending Kyle Monunga in a third for Pierce and a 27 second. Talk to me there. I mean, Monunga, Pierce has been very useful for a lot of teams for me. How do you feel there, Scott?
Yeah, he says his roster matters more here, and obviously Pierce is like his 2nd or 3rd best receiver. So I think the trade he did is fine. But when you show me a format that is 14 by 12, 2 tight end premium, start 2 tight end, point per carry, point per first down, and I have to start 3 running backs. What is the only thing you didn't notice in any of that scoring or setup that's valued? Wide receivers. And it's 14 by 12, which means that big group of receivers we always consider to be like the flexes, that is widened because the teams at the bottom are starting any receiver that's breathing in such a format. So it's just that range of receiver is so wide open to where you're probably having to start Kayshon Boutte every week. Like he's a locked in starter. So when that's the case, I don't need to prioritize valuing the wide receiver 2s, 3s, 4s. Those are the most overvalued assets. So I like the Pierce buy. Like Pierce, QJ, Dobbs is a great receiver room in this format when all your other shit is awesome. So I love the way he's setting this receiver room up. This is one of those where you go, well, look at my 3 starting receivers. And the KTC and Dynasty Daddy value on those receivers puts you 12 out of 12. And it'll make your league look like your team looks like it stinks. But then you're like, damn, everywhere else I'm strong. I have draft capital, and you're leaning into the format. So I like that trade. I like it.
Vape had me playing a couple leagues together where that wide receiver value is just it's tanked the more additions you add to the league. So just got to be heady with it and have a plan. But thanks, Vapad. We appreciate it. And how about McQuinn? What's up? 10 by 10. You guys are 3 wide receivers. May, Stafford, Jones, T-Law, Gibbs, Bucky, Kenny Walker, Monty, Woody, Mixon, and Connor are dead, unfortunately. Chase, Devontae, Wandale, London, and Hunter. We got Evans and Hill all dead. We got Fannin, Hawk, Likely. He's currently in 2nd. 4 people make the finals. Has an offer of Jacobs for my 26 first and a very likely early 27 second. Good all-in move or try and move a movable IR piece like Hunter for what I can get. Thanks. Well, don't say thanks yet. Shane, 4 teams make the final. Jacobs for a first and a likely early 27 second, or are you looking to do another move?
I mean, I'm fine with that, but if you're gonna do that, why don't you see what a 26 first and Hunter can get you? I mean, but at the end of the day, I'm fine with Jacobs. He's gonna play this weekend, right? Like it's basically he's practiced all week, all limited. Yeah. So guess that wasn't a serious knee injury. I'm fine with this deal.
50-50, I think.
Yeah. Yeah. Whatever. He'll go. He's a gamer. He's a gym rat. I don't know. Anyway, yeah, I would make this deal. Running back 7 this year. Dude, this dude's just getting better with age. It's ridiculous. It really is. I'll make this deal. But that doesn't preclude you from using Travis Hunter too. Like Travis Hunter is just a chess piece. That's all he is. I don't care about his long-term value. Can he get me something that can help me win this year? Because that's what I'd try to do with him. I think I'd rather give up Travis Hunter than the 26 first in the second, though. So can I try Travis Hunter for Josh Jacobs?
Yeah, Travis Hunter for Kyron Williams. You know, some move in that range. I think you could probably find something there. I think I too would rather hold on to the first with this team. It's pretty deep as is. I'd rather keep that flexibility versus move a player versus sending that pick. All right, here, Scott, big Diaz, best ball, 12 by 11, 2 tight ends, scoring, big play scoring everywhere. Rice or Fannin?
I mean, this is one of those where the receivers are probably a little bit devalued, right? Like every premium at every other position is juiced. It is best ball. Man. If it was me, I'd probably keep Rice and be willing to construct differently at tight end. But if you're betting on Fannin being like a top 6 tight end, this is probably what it costs. Like if he's priced there, it's a start 2 with a premium. People don't let those guys go. Oftentimes, Ty, they don't move. It's like, man, they're so scarce that I need to tier up what my expectations are if I trade away a guy like Tyler Warren. Like I need Jamar Chase or I can't move him. And then the person is like, I'll just address tight end elsewhere. I'd probably keep Rice, but if you really want an elite tight end and you think that's Fannin, I'm fine with it. It's an iron price.
That feels like one. I need to know how many roster spots you have here to really know, like how much can I really backfill at tight end? If it's one of the, I'm trying to be efficient and consolidate, I don't mind it. I'm probably going to lean Rice just for maybe half of my league mates aren't going to fully tune in and lock in to say wide receiver should be devalued here. And I can still do something maybe a little more with Rice.
And will they give me a Schultz for 3rd? Like, can I just easily accumulate 5 of those guys and be just as fine at tight end versus having to pay up for a guy that I hope is a top 5 tight end?
That's the question. But you play in a lot of leagues with us. That's probably not the case, DS. So, good luck. Blake Harper, 8 by 13, 2 quarterback, 0.5 PPR. Jaden Daniels for T-Law and a 26 first, which should be 101 or 102, Shane. Decent team with Allen, May, and JD5 just sitting there. Other than that, Chase, Nico, Shaheed, Kraft, two firsts, extra 26 and 28 second, 8 by 13.
I would say give Shane that 8 by 13 and just scramble his brain this late in the stream.
Let's see here.
It's when you hear like 12 by 10, 14 by those just ring in your mind, right? You don't see a lot of 8 by 13.
By the same, it's like a 13 by 8. You just don't see it. Anyway, man, this reeks of this is the only move I could make for JD5 to move JD5, and I don't need him because I have Allen and May. You're getting the 101 too, so I like that. The only thing is if I'm going to do this deal, do I really need T-Law? Like, what is T-Law doing for me? I get that he's a quarterback, but it's 8 teams. I know it's start 13, but it's 8 teams.
Yeah, I'm thinking if you could probably find let's be real, T-Law is in the bottom quadrant of quarterbacks here. He's in the 16 through 24 range. So how replaceable is finding, a Mariota or a Tyrod? Like they're closer to T-Law and they don't have to count in this trade.
Yeah, and that's
I think I'm holding on to the 3 elite quarterbacks, and I'll just keep that advantage. You know what I can do, Shane? I can stream the one that has the best matchup. You know what I mean? Like I can take the 3 elite quarterbacks and even elevate that because I have 3 of them.
If I'm moving JD5, I want on this roster, I want Gibbs, Bijan,
Yeah.
A chain.
Elite shit, right?
Yeah.
It's got to be like one elite piece. Like in the 101 it can be elite, but I don't know that it'll be elite. Give me one of those running backs that I know is elite.
Yeah, 100%. There's certain leagues where I want to lean into keeping things elite and just aim for elite, just like Jeffrey Jacobs here in a 12x10. I will send my BTJ and a Matthew Golden to get a Rice. Just let me get rid of the headaches. Give me Rice. Let me move into the elite pieces. So when you have that kind of flexibility, I want to try to do that, especially in those 8x13 leagues. Like just give me that, please. Scott, we're gonna end on this one. Look and move Penix for some startable flex players down the stretch in a 12x10 super flex. Any players to target? Yeah, ACL, another ACL repair to that knee. I am not hopeful for Penix's trade market, but if you're sitting here trying to flip him into a flex starter, what are you doing?
We talked about it on Mannequin Chill for quite a while, Shane. We talked about Michael Penix. And I think you have to adjust him down even below where the Bryce Tua that range is, which was a second, maybe in a right week. You could get a second for those guys, and he's below that. So think about what could you trade it for a second. That's kind of how you have to look at him. And if you can get a deal done, if someone's going to send me like a Jalen Warren or a DeAndre Swift or someone like that's a deal.
Mm-hmm.
Because I'm not even banking on him getting back to what he was this year. What was he, Shane? Like quarterback 28, something like that. I mean, like he wasn't even really in the range you wanted to play him. And now he has a lot of question marks. Like, what could I buy for a second? That's what I'm sending out for Penix. I would add a third to Penix to even get one of those players if I'm really now. Granted, I'm wanting the player that I buy to be healthy, maybe already had their bye, that kind of thing. But I'm casting a pretty wide net. Like, think of guys I could buy for a second if a team is dumping them. Like, that's the range I'm fishing in. Anything higher, like, gosh, that's just a smash. If you can turn it into Sam Darnold or, so, you know what I mean? Somebody in that quarterback range and you get credit for Penix as a legitimate quarterback, like I'm doing that all day.
All day. You probably have to go cross positional if we're being honest, right? Like I don't think you're gonna get the right value there if you try to go elsewhere. But go listen to Mannequin Chill for some more Penix talk and listen back to this if you want more trade talk. We appreciate everyone that came out tonight. So I want to give a big shout out to Ahoff, Difference Maker Tracks, Echelon, Tanner H, John D'Amato, Roy G, Mr. Jordan Jackson, Alec Malone, Cam Frost, Matt, Vapad, McQuinn, Jeff Jacobs, Blake Harper, and Kevin Burke with the big super chat. I'm sure I missed some names. It was a big show. We appreciate all y'all. We love you. We will see you next week, and we are out of this thing. Peace.